Kathleen, so great to see you here at Leadership Manhattan Beach today. So tell us a little bit about Leadership Manhattan Beach and what it's all about.
Wow. Well, first of all, we're at the Summer Social, which is something that we attempt to do every year. We couldn't do during COVID, so we're so glad to be able to be here. Leadership Manhattan Beach is a community-based program where people get together for 9 months, right? Mm-hmm. And the goal is to learn about the city, to network, and to do a project that gives back. And this is our recruiting director, Ed. So,
Ed, nice to meet you. Why don't you tell us a little about it?
And what you think about leadership.
I love Leadership Manhattan Beach. I was part of the class of 2014 and then quickly jumped into the executive team board. I'm the recruiting director this year. My job is to build the class for the following year and to get everybody in and to let them know about the program and, get everybody signed up.
And this is our 30th year.
30 years. Wow, fantastic. That's exciting.
Kind of took off last year because of COVID. And so this is really, really wonderful that we have a chance to do that this year.
So this is kind of your kickoff back to real life, huh?
Exactly.
Right. And so we have a lot of people here that I think you should interview. And I'd like to introduce Dahlia. Dahlia, do you want to come here? And because one of the things that makes our program so special is that we have teenagers. And a lot of leadership programs don't have teens, but we believe that you should have all ages represented from teens all the way up into senior citizens. So it's a nice mix representing the community. So I'm going to get out of the way here and introduce you to Duncan.
So tell us a little bit about why you joined Leadership Manhattan Beach.
I initially joined Leadership Manhattan Beach because I thought it would be a great opportunity to learn more about the city that I grew up in my whole life, as well as give back to it. I was so excited about the idea of doing a class project that could physically give back to my city that, would last for years to come. So
that's fantastic. Now, what year in high school did you join?
I joined younger than most. I was a sophomore while I was taking the class. I was in the class of 2020. But it was such a great decision. I'm so glad I did because I was able to apply and be teen liaison on the board of directors. So this is now going to be my second year as teen liaison on the board of directors, which I just love. It's amazing.
Fabulous. Well, thank you for joining us and enjoy the party.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Something that's really special about leadership is sometimes couples come into the program together. So I'd like you to introduce yourself and tell them what made you join leadership and what you got out of it.
Oh, well, I'm Monica Kalinich.
I'm Craig Kalinich.
And actually, Ed McLaughlin, who's here, introduced me. Was that who introduced you to leadership?
You introduced me.
Oh, there you go. Ed told me about it, and I guess I told Craig. And we went through the interview process. We were still just dating. And we got engaged and married while we were doing leadership. So it's still holding strong. So
hold the program responsible.
Yes, exactly.
Clearly.
So if you come in with your significant other, it'll build a long, healthy relationship because you'll know what disc profile they are, and that will help you a long way. But do you want to say?
Oh, we miss seeing everybody. It's been so long since we all got together face to face. And these are our friends for life.
Yes.
So, we're so happy
really
to be
good
here.
friends.
So,
We're with Kim Edwards, who is very involved in Leadership Manhattan Beach. Kim, tell us a little bit about what roles you've held.
Let's see. Right now I'm the governance chair. So I work with two past presidents, and so we have a governance committee which helps to work with the board when they need historical information or help with things. So we're kind of a resource for them. In the past, I've been a president. I've been the alumni director. I've been the program director, and kind of a catch-all volunteer when needed. So
I love that.
For about 16 years now.
Tell us a little bit about why somebody should join Leadership Manhattan Beach.
The reason I joined, I was actually referred to the program by Richard Montgomery, one of our council members, and he was telling me what a great program it was. And this is back in 2005, and the mission really spoke to me, which is to develop and unite community leaders. To me, that's very, very important, and I wanted to be involved in the community. And the nice thing about that is this group facilitates you getting to know other groups where you might be able to help out. So we've learned about other organizations where they need our help, or other parts of the city that might need help. So it's been really wonderful for that, and also learning how the city works. Learning about how our city government works actually getting to meet a lot of the people in the city government, whether it's the mayor, the current mayor, the police chief, the fire chief, the city manager, the city treasurer.
Lots of people.
It is lots of people, but it's funny how small this town can be when you realize you've met so many of these folks and you run into them from day to day, and you need help. Sometimes you need help, and now you have a better idea of what resources and where to go. So that was important for me.
Great learning for the city of Manhattan Beach. Awesome. Thank you for joining us today. So I understand you're one of the first class members. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh my gosh, this was 27 years ago. And I was living in Manhattan Beach, and I read about it, and I really wanted to get more knowledge about the community and see how I could participate in some way, volunteer, whatever. Yeah.
Fabulous. And are you still involved? I mean, you're here at the summer party, which is awesome.
Well, I definitely got involved in the community. And I kind of focused on the seniors. I was on the Senior Advisory Committee in Manhattan Beach for Parks and Recreation, and I've been a volunteer now for 25 years with the Beach Cities Health District.
Oh, fantastic.
Most of my volunteer time, yeah.
Well, thank you, Kim. Thanks for being here today and joining us. And congratulations on 27 years ago and being one of the first classes. James, great to see you here at the summer party. Tell us a little bit about your role in Leadership Manhattan Beach.
Yeah, I've been involved in the organization since 2006 is the class that I went through. Our project was one of the first in the digital world. We donated a special digital projector to the Manhattan Beach Library.
Oh, I love that. So each class does some sort of philanthropic project. Is that correct?
Yes. Every year there's a project that has to get put together by the class, approved by the council, and whoever else is involved. So it can get very complicated very quickly. One of the things we learn is to try to pick a simple project.
Right, I love that. Well, it's great to be able to support the community in that way. So I understand you're a past president as well.
Yes. One of the great things, you meet people, you get to know people in the city, you make new friends, and then I learned to be on the board of directors of Leadership Manhattan Beach, and that to me was it was a life-changing skill, really. So I was a recruiting director for a couple, 2 or 3 years, and then I actually ran for president and got elected as the president from 2010 to 12. And it really changed my life. After that, I became a commissioner for the city.
Wow.
I wound up being president of a local nonprofit organization for several years after that, and it just gave me confidence that to be in that kind of a leadership role in organizations around town that I never had before. So
I love that. True leader of the community.
Yeah, good stuff.
And I believe your daughter is here as well. Would she like to join us? And
This is Jade. What class?
I was a class of 2020. This is the first class that went virtual, and not viral.
Yeah.
Virally virtual. There you go.
Exactly, right? It was really good. It was really fun in the beginning, and towards the end, I think all of us came together perfectly and really tried to use that challenge and face it together instead of just doing it one by one. We did have our own little personal, community helpful projects, so we all did it our separate way. I still think that it was pretty good, having us all at the end come together and talk about what we did, because that was super helpful. I enjoyed having and meeting everyone. I've been going to some meetings since I was at least 10. I was a tiny
going with Dad. Is that
to everything
exactly?
That we had, yes.
So I also had experience for that, and as well as my sister went through the program, who is also away at college. So she got to kind of tell me some stuff before I got into the program myself, and it was really helpful to have people that already knew what they were going through and what I was going through. So it was nice to have some helpful tips along the way.
That's great. And I imagine, too, for a high school student applying for colleges and everything, this is a great experience to be on your college resume and your applications, correct?
I agree with that fully.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us today at the summer party.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
Thank you, James.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, come on in. Hi. All right, so we've got Leslie and Danielle, a mother-daughter team here. So have you both been in Leadership Manhattan Beach?
Yes.
Yeah, so I went first, and I was in the class of 2018, and then 2018, and then I joined the board of directors as the student liaison, and I told my mom that she needed to do it. So it's like actually my brother did it before me too. So it's a whole line of us going.
Oh, family affair.
Yes, completely. Yeah, it's a great organization. I'm so happy we all are involved, and we get to go to these events together, which is really fun.
Fantastic. So, Mom, tell us a little bit about your experience.
It was wonderful. I was in the class of 2018. I know it because that's the year you graduated.
Okay.
And it was great because I really knew I needed something to kind of bridge my time being a stay-at-home mom and then going back to work. And it was perfect. I got to meet fantastic people and just an incredible experience.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us here today at the summer party.
Janet Jones, who is another alumni we have with us, someone who's really involved in our city. So, Janet, I want you to tell us what class you were in, if you can remember, and why you joined Leadership Manhattan Beach.
I think I was in the class of 2012, maybe? Yeah. And I joined Leadership. I will say it was one of the best decisions I've made in my life, other than deciding to move to Manhattan Beach and buy real estate here. Joining Leadership Manhattan was one of my best decisions, and that is because I'd been working so hard that I didn't feel that connected to the community. And when someone told me about leadership, I decided this sounds like something I want to do. And I also am very big on giving back to the community, and the fact of the project I felt was so fantastic. So best decision probably, or maybe the second best decision of my life.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let me ask you, why should somebody do this? What would be your kind of your sales pitch on why they should take time to do a 9-month program?
There is no question that when you start leadership, you're totally intimidated and wondering why the heck you are doing this. But I'm here to say it opens up the curtain to a world you didn't even know existed, which is what's going on in the city? Who's pulling the strings? Who makes the decisions? How are those decisions made? How can I be part of that decision-making process? So you go from probably knowing nothing to knowing a lot of everything. And I felt that I went from kind of being naive to being very knowledgeable. And for me, it led to my becoming a commissioner, which is something I didn't even know commissions existed when I joined leadership. So I've been a Parks and Rec commissioner. I'm now a library commissioner. It opens your eyes to what you can do to contribute to making the community even better than it already is.
Great. I'd like to now introduce you to Steve Nicholson. Now, Steve Nicholson was in the first class I ever facilitated. I think it was the year of 2000. So Steve has taken many roles on the leadership board. So I'd like him to tell us, why do you keep taking roles on the board and staying involved for all these years?
Well, thank you, Kathleen. It's a very good question. I guess because I like the people so much. I enjoy being involved with the really talented people that contribute to the community. They're fun. Many of them have become good friends. And I love the purpose. I like the idea of creating a leadership environment in the city of Manhattan Beach and facilitating people to learn about the Beach City's health district and the city's system of management and all the institutions that we have in the city. So it's a wonderful environment to be in. I really enjoy it.
Thank you. And I hear that they do projects. Is that correct?
Oh, they do projects.
Do you remember your project?
Oh, I remember my project. It was the project that you said we'd never do 2 projects again because we were all naive and young at the time, or at least younger. And our class created a time capsule to commemorate the year 2000 and gathered a whole bunch of items from that year. But then we decided we would put it in an object of art. So on the Parkway, Veterans Parkway, there is if you look closely, kind of near 15th Street, you'll see a wave a bronze wave curving over on top of a pedestal. And inside the pedestal is the time capsule, which one of these days, well, actually, it's the 21st, so in 4 years, we're going to open it up.
4 years.
So that was our project.
Yeah. So one of the things when we did this, I said, you have to make sure I'm going to be alive. So we had to set it not too far out, right? So I think it's 2024. 2024. Well, thank you, Steve, for being such a service to Leadership Manhattan Beach.
I really enjoyed it.
Hello, Lolly. Hi, Kathleen. So glad to have you at the Summer Social. I'd like you to introduce yourself. If you remember the class you were in, and also tell them about your phenomenal project, because that was something that is noteworthy in our city.
Thank you. So my name is Lali Ramazani. I've been a resident of Manhattan Beach for about 28 years. I'm the class of 2011, and our project, proudly, I would say, was the sustainable garden outside the Manhattan Beach Post Office and Chamber of Commerce. And all the projects that the LMB has done are great projects, but I can say that our project was the one who still holds the score for the most number of volunteer hours that the class members and also their family members, put into the project. And it's still there after 10 years.
Right. Now, as I recall, you were on the board a number of times. I think you did fundraising. So when you do fundraising for leadership, how do you tell people that this is something that would be a valuable thing for them to contribute their monies to?
Sure. I personally, I think, I've been in leadership positions, my career before. One thing that leadership taught me, I felt, was I was fortunate enough to be the project director for our project. It allowed me in a volunteer organization to take a leadership position, which is very different than when you are a manager or a leader in a for-profit organization. So the interactions, the leadership skills that I learned through the program was very valuable, and I think that's one of the qualities of the leadership program that I talk to the sponsors, basically, as to if they do that, they help others, participate in the program itself, and also make a lot of good connections within the city. When you are part of the community, being able to make those connections and, to get to know different people, learn about how the city operates, I think is very valuable and makes people more connected to the community that they live in.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Lali. We're glad you're here and for all the service you've provided to leadership over the years.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Kathleen.
Hi, Francie.
Hi, Kathleen. How are you?
Fine. So I'm glad to be able to give you a chance to share today. You are one of our most illustrious past presidents of Leadership Manhattan Beach. So I want you to tell the audience here why somebody should do Leadership Manhattan Beach and what has kept you involved for so many years.
Okay. I think everybody should participate in Leadership Manhattan Beach if they have a heart to give back to their community. Leadership Manhattan Beach literally changed my life. And Kathleen, you've heard this story before, that it developed skills in me that were inside of me, but I didn't know I had. It gave me a level of confidence to execute ideas within my city and for community engagement. And I carry the skills that I learned at Manhattan Beach into my professional life, and they have served me very well. And even in graduate school, oftentimes the professors had me project lead because of the skills that I had learned through Manhattan Beach and the leadership program.
Wow. So you've been able to take everything you learned and then apply it into the real world.
I also want to say that through Leadership Manhattan Beach, I left the program and became a cultural arts commissioner. I also was involved with developing 2 nonprofit organizations and ministry initiatives, Hurricane Katrina relief and Hurricane Harvey. And the only way I was able to do that was with the skills that I learned through Leadership Manhattan Beach. This is why I am such a huge fan of the program.
Well, hi. Today I've got with me Stuart and Randy. They happen to be married, which I think is really cool. They both went through the program, but at different times. And so I wanted each of you to tell us what your class was, and anything you want to share about the experience. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay, because you're disabled here, so, okay, go ahead.
And she hates the spotlight,
All right.
so we're going to warm her up a little bit.
At all.
I was with the class of 2008, and we did the earthquake preparedness.
Okay.
So that was a long time ago. But I have heard that people have actually used the service. We had a notification in the window for those that had heart conditions or any time of physical limitation, so that when the paramedics came in, they could see potentially what they were dealing with, because as you know, in a traumatic situation, it's very difficult for people to remember.
Yes.
But I would like to brag a little bit.
Okay.
I think yeah, you can cut me off at any time.
That's all right, that's all right.
I'm not absolutely sure, but I think Randy and I were the first co-commissioners. Randy was on the Library Commission, and I was on the PPIC and Planning Commission at the same time. So we really are grateful to the program because it led to a lot of great things for us.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
so one of the things you're saying is that people go through the program have opportunities to apply for commissions, and that's a really great way of giving back to the community. How about you, Randy? What do you want to share with the audience?
Oh boy, I was class of 2012. The garden that we did, the labor-intensive garden that we did, just word of advice is don't pick something so labor-intensive. But it was a fun program, and I really enjoyed it. Stuart tried to get me to do it for years, and finally Kathleen, I think, was yes, instrumental in getting me to do it. But I'm so glad I went through it. I still know so many people from my class, and just a great way to learn about the city and be involved.
Right. Well, thank you. Thank you both for being part of this program. Have a nice rest of the evening. All right. Well, here we are with Wayne Powell, a very well-known person in Manhattan Beach, was a mayor, a commissioner, always involved in something, and he went through our program. So, Wayne, I'd like you to tell them what your class was and what did you get out of the program, because you're a person who's so involved in things, and yet you signed up for this. So share with them a little bit about your experience.
Sure. Well, I was a city commissioner at the time, and I think I was on the Planning Commission, or no, actually I was on the Cultural Arts Commission way back then. It was class of 2005, and our project was Bridging the Generations, a DVD where we had the Maricosta students interview longtime residents and about what life was like in Manhattan Beach in the good old days. And it was a great DVD. You can find it online. You can get it at the library if you want. Nobody gets DVDs anymore. Everything's streaming video. But and then ultimately I got on the Planning Commission and then served 2 terms on the council, was mayor twice, and I'm still a volunteer. Somebody was asking me the other day what I'm doing these days, and I serve on about at least a half a dozen different boards. So
why did you do leadership? Why did you do leadership? You've got all this experience.
Well, it's interesting. A number of people would do leadership to hopefully get on a commission. I was already on a commission, and I did leadership because I wanted to learn leadership skills. I never had any formal training at it, and it was a great program. I learned a lot. Thanks to Kathleen. You are the greatest mentor and the best facilitator ever in the history of the LMB program. And so I learned so much, things that I'd assumed or maybe taken for granted or didn't even know about until, and I'll never forget, and you'll remember this, but people, their first impression of me is that I'm the kind of shy, bashful, introverted kind of person, which, I don't know, something about my looks, they don't know me. I'm usually the person that does the practical jokes and whatever, and it was either you or Paul said that I needed to stand up on the table and exert myself one of these days, which I did, and I can't remember what the event was, and I got up, stood up on the table, and everybody goes, "Oh my gosh, what's he doing?" And I also did it a second time. It was at a Leadership Manhattan Beach recruiting event, and I saw Ed McLaughlin a while ago. And I stood up. One thing that I never did was to stand up on the dais at city council, because that would be unbecoming of a council member. I stood up, and everybody looked at me, and it was kind of funny. And then I said to myself, I can't believe I did this. I didn't learn that from you, by the way.
That's what I mean, is that we have some things we teach and some they just go on their own. But we've loved having you in our program, Wayne, and I'm glad you continue to show up and give back, and we're so proud of you and all your accomplishments. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm privileged to now introduce you to Candy Duncan. She was in the class of 2000, I believe, which was that monumental project of the time capsule and art piece. And I wanted her to share a little bit because for many years she has done an art night for us. So would you tell us a little bit about the art night?
The art night, I invite 5 artists with 5 different mediums to my house for their art, all featuring local artists. And it's a wine and cheese event, and each artist has the opportunity to talk to the group about their art. And it's been a successful event for 18 years. So I'm hoping that we get everybody to come and bring their friends, because it is fun and
great.
Yeah.
Great. And I hope you're going to be around when we open the time capsule.
Yeah.
You and me.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you.